let me bring this question in as well to see if we could reinforce the points you touched in passing. At the point you go to register your vehicle before you get your license plate,
yes,
you say they request for your custom duty.
Yes.
So once you show that to whichever agency you've gone, whichever state you're registering your vehicle, if they give you that registration, customs have no business whatsoever with you.
Yes.
So would it then be out of place if customs were to then liaise with those registration bodies to find out who perhaps cut corners somewhere, or if I register my car and I'm on the road, whether it's FOU or whoever, customs has no business with me on the road?
Absolutely. The custom has no business with you as a road, as a vehicle user.
Let's hypothesize.
You get the point?
Let's hypothesize.
Good.
What if it turns out that somebody really and truly either didn't pay appropriate duty or didn't pay duty at all, and he's using his vehicle on the road for some reason?
Good. That was why when I used that word cook, I was coming to a particular live case, and I hope you give me time to.
Is that the example?
No, that's the live case.
Okay.
And I'm going to come to it. The whole idea is that there are times when members of the custom to generate these documents, supposedly giving you an impression that appropriate duty have been paid, and you walk away. That's something we call an innocent buyer for value.
Do they give you, or they give the agent who then gives you?
No, they give to the dealer. The dealer collects. That's exactly what the gentleman you were talking to on phone was saying. They have this. They work in cahoots with the custom people, lower people, in the custom. They generate these documents for them, and they use it to sell their vehicles. That is why the people now come back with police and all manners of things to arrest them. Because in such circumstances, no duty was paid, as a matter of fact. No duty. Because these vehicles are smuggled in, but these custom papers are generated to be able to send to this licensing officer, who looks at them and thinks that they are genuine and they are valid, and he issues you a license.
What does the custom now do to catch or arrest those officers who have decided to wrongfully give out custom papers?
Good. You see, they have 2 points. They can check that at the licensing office. If you bring this kind of papers, which often look as good as genuine, they look often as good as the real thing. Okay, that takes me to this life example that before I forget it. And we're not hypothesizing here. We're not speculating. I bought a car a few years ago for 4.2 million. And of course, before I did that, I looked at the documents, that surrounded the car in what we call in law market overt. Market overt is that if you are buying something in the regular place people normally buy, you are supposed to be safe enough. You can be seen as an innocent buyer. It's not a situation where I go to my backyard and tell you, Chamberlain, I need to sell this car to you at probably a value that is even suspicious. But the market overt is where people normally buy cars. One of such places may well be Bega in Lagos, a bigger car shop or whatever. Most Nigerians go to buy cars in such places and other car shops. Of course, this car I asked my driver to take it to the east, for a purpose, and he was arrested somewhere in the Djibouti. And of course, he kept calling me, and I said, "What's the problem?" He said that they said that that the papers that he had were not genuine or something. Meanwhile, I know that I even personally inspected this car, and he had this Lagos sticker, showing that it was properly cleared from a Papa Wharf and all of that. All the papers were genuine, as far as I was concerned, with normal tellers paid to the bank, a Nigerian bank, and all the stamps, that you require. And of course, we paid and collected the car. But the car was seized. That also brings me to, assuming, for instance, the custom controller is allowed to go with this policy, disposal of such impounded vehicles. It was seized. And when it was seized, I eventually sued the custom. So of course, I sued the custom and joined the car shop, the car dealer that I bought the car from. Because I was so embarrassed and totally, frustrated. And I was so vigilant that I was always monitoring that vehicle because it was seized and put in what they call the Federal Operations Unit, somewhere, in Ikeja here. Until one day somebody now told me that he looks like somebody is walking around that car and all of it. While the matter was pending in court, and of course, I tried to find out what was happening. The car had been sold.
What?
To one Malam Ayuba. I can tell you this.
While the case was on,
your
car was sold.
The typical government agency.
Did you serve them any notice?
Simply ignored the pendency of the matter.
I suppose that your car was then impounded.
Oh, sure, it was impounded and seized. Well, that would take us to the visitor of corruption that impounded cars are going to open up, because if they seize these cars, there are quite a number of people who will not be able to, pay the necessary.
Are you saying that if we go ahead with this policy, cars will be impounded and then will be sold?
You had the Custom General talking about aggressive. When it is aggressive, they impound your car. And they impound your car, it will be seized.
One more thing before we go. I mean, this part, I hear a lot of people also asking, the targets that customs are usually given, is it part of the laws?
Well, it's administrative. It's administrative. But Chamberlain, let me just
conclude on that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Conclude on this. You see, eventually the car was seized, and then I sued custom and the car dealer to fast track what we are doing. His name is Malam Ayuba of Waterboard Road, Ibauchi. The car that I bought for 4.2 million was sold to him at 60,000. You can see this 60,000. As a matter of fact, he was clutching so many of such things. I had to buy the car again from this person. Because they have forced the fait accompli on the court. The rest had been destroyed. There was no other thing that the court was going to decide because the car had been sold. I had to buy my own car from Malam Ayuba. This car was sold to for 60,000, and he had a lot of such cars and there were a number of traders clustering around him that he was going to sell these impounded vehicles back to. Have you seen that chain of corruption? This is where we are heading to.
And
the point we are making last now is that it's not all laws that must be enforced fully. Like I speak to you today, bigamy is still a crime. That is marrying two wives. But nobody has been able to be prosecuted for marrying two wives. So that law is in our status, but it has no relevance to society. So nobody executes it, nobody enforces it. This law they are talking about cannot be enforced in Nigeria.
Mr. K, that's the point where we'll have to anchor. But then we're also hoping that Customs will find time to join us tomorrow and shed light on this matter. We understand that there are reports that there's a little twist in this particular policy or exercise that some may refer to it as, but we'll get back to them and get you information from them as soon as we get them. Mr. George K., a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst, thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.